Okay, I'd like to call this Finance Committee meeting in order. Bill, ready? The first item we have are assignment for request for council actions. We have several for finance. We have addendum to RCA 16002, RFP scanning project for the municipal court, 16020 budget amendment, 16021 MCRC senior activities coordinator position addition, 16022 fiscal year 2014 CHIP grant Wadsworth reimbursement, 16023 expenditure over $15,000 for software solutions for the finance department, 16024 easements for West Smith reconstruction, 16025 expenditure over $15,000 for Lake County sewer street department, 16026 payment over $3,000 for Walter Haverfield. Item number 2 is discussion for Mayor's Monarch Pledge. We have, I think, Jeff Van Loon from the Medina Soil and Water Conservation District here. And
yes.
If you'd like to...
Okay, you want to shoot from here?
Shoot from there if you'd like. That'd be good.
I'd like to thank council for allowing us to be in front of you this evening. I have a couple of guests with me who will make some comments shortly after I'm done. I have Linda Schneider, who's our education specialist or education coordinator from our office, and Kim Flottam, who is out at the AI Group Company, just down the road here a little ways, and a bee expert. And this is going to be a combination presentation in the sense that there's the National Wildlife Federation has a initiative right now on trying to save the monarch butterflies. Their populations are just about tanked. And you wonder, what's that got to do with the city of Medina? Well, the city could partake in a program called the Mayor's Monarch Pledge. It's something the National Wildlife Federation is promoting. And Linda's going to get into that pretty quick here as soon as I stop. But the reason that we're interested in this is that it's not so much that you have to do much of anything if you don't want to, but you can still participate. And that's a nice thing about this. Cost-wise, it's very minimal. In fact, we're probably going to offer you some seed if you're interested to maybe put it in an oddball corner on some public property you have someplace around the city. Most cities have a little bit of park land here or there with some oddball areas. And these things can be as small as half of this room, even smaller. And the other side of it is too is that perhaps the citizens might catch on and get inspired by what you folks do here at the council level. And we were at the commissioners meeting last Tuesday. They were supportive of this, and from their perspective, we have appointments with Brunswick and Wadsworth coming up. One in Wadsworth later in this month, and Brunswick in the middle of next month. And then we're going to go to the villages in the county here and see if they're interested in partaking in some of this stuff. I've sort of said enough. You can't get the gist of it. I know Linda gives them more of the specifics, and then we'll have Kim say a few words from his perspective on the pollinator issue, being a bee person and representing almost a global industry that he represents. So, Linda, you want to go ahead?
Okay.
I can help pass out things.
That's theirs. So Jeff told you that the population of the monarch butterfly has drastically reduced in the last 20 years. Those 20 years are our lifetime, and I take that very personally. I don't want to see that the grandchildren and the great-grandchildren are not going to get to see monarchs. So we need to step up and try and help. And it's the canary in the coal mine, or it could be, so we need to pay attention. Above us, the President of the United States, the President of Mexico, and the Prime Minister of Canada have gotten together and formed a work group to address this problem. So they're already taking action. The reason that the monarchs have declined is because of the milkweed population. It has also declined. The caterpillar only has one food source, and that's milkweed. The butterflies can drink from all kinds of nectar plants, but the caterpillar eats one food source, and if its food source is gone, so is that entire species. The added bonus is that if we do anything to help the butterflies, we're also going to be helping all the pollinators. You've heard the honeybees are also in trouble, so we're going to be helping the honeybees, the native bees, hummingbirds, other butterflies, and the other birds as well, so butterflies and birds. What I'm asking today is really for one person out of your group.
Mark.
It's called the Mayor's. It's called the Mayor's Monarch Pledge, which means you're taking a commitment. You go to the National Wildlife Federation site and you say, yes, we will commit to helping the monarchs. Then they ask you to choose 3 action items. They've given us a list of 25, but I've highlighted the 3 that I think would be extremely easy for us to do. Then they give us a year to do it, and at the end of that year, we go back in and we put in a report, you know, a 5-minute report that says this is the progress we've made. It's that simple, 4 steps. I also want you to know that we are a multi-partnering group. We've got National Wildlife Federation partnering with us. We have AI Roots partnering with us. We have Bee Culture Magazine. We have Ohio Prairie Nursery, Medina Beekeepers Association, and Medina Master Gardeners. So we can draw from all of those people and resources to get help that you need. Just like the bluebirds, we can do this. We just have to hurry.
Thank you.
Kim Flodham is from Medina Bee Culture Magazine and our AI Root, and we brought him along as our expert.
The Root Candle Company is also a publisher of a beekeeping magazine. We've been doing it for over 140 years. So we have a vested interest in a continuing population of all pollinators, certainly honeybees, but when honeybees thrive, the rest of them thrive also. What we've begun on a field back behind our corporate offices is a whole slew of pollinator gardens. And we put them up there for the public to see, but also for people who are participating in this project to come and take a look and see what you can do, how big it has to be or how small it can be, and that it works. And we've got gardens up there sponsored by the Ohio State Beekeepers Association, by Pollinator Protection Group, which is all milkweeds, by the nursery, both in Pennsylvania and Ohio, that are supplying seeds for us. So we've got those up there. We'll have public displays and public days where people can come up and look at representatives from all of those gardens, so people can take a look, can find out what they need to do, and can on their own go home and do something. At the level that you're at here, I brought with me, there's a group called Pollinator Protection Group. They're national, and what they've done is they've put together for you a whole list of seeds and plants that you can use when your foresters have to replace a slew of trees. This is the list that they can go to that works. When your park people have plants that they need to replace, or they're going to put something in the spring, this is the list that they can go to. It's set up by region, so the stuff that is recommended here is going to grow here, and they can take a look at that. I've got the webpage on. You can take a look at more information. But what we as Medina Beekeepers, what we as the AI Root Company and Bee Culture Magazine are hoping that we can do is, we all have kind of a saying, and it's enough good food for every bee in the bunch. And the bees and the butterflies all qualify for that. So there is a fundamental lack of good food out there, primarily because of agriculture, but also pavement. And you put the two together, and there's just not enough food out there for any of these insects and pollinators anymore. What we're trying to do is to fix that. And this program is going to help. The gardens that we have at the Root Company are good examples of what people can do to help. Hopefully this list will give you some incentive to do things that you can help without having, you have to replace a tree anyway. Why not use it make it a pollinator tree? So you are welcome to come and look at those gardens anytime. They're not very attractive at the moment, but come July, they'll look a lot better. And pay attention to our announcements, and you can come and visit us during our Representative Day.
Okay, thank you. Questions?
Thank you, Kim. Good presentation. I took your class, Beekeepers. Okay. I understand where we're coming from. Now, the plants that we or asked to grow as a community, as a city, they're going to help both the butterflies and the pollinators, or the
Yes.
bees. Will this also help the bee colonies to survive, or take over the varroa mite issue, or?
Well, bees are under a lot of pressure, a lot of different kinds of pressure. One of them is a parasite that you mentioned, one of them is not enough good food, and the other one is winter. And you put the three together and you've got, in too many cases, a lethal combination. Varroa being the most lethal and giving the most problems. But the issue is, if bees have enough good food and they're healthy and they're well taken care of, Varroa is much less of a problem. And Varroa is an external parasite on honeybees. Think of it as a wood tick the size of a pineapple on you. And that's what's giving them the problem. They can almost handle those things, but then you stress them with something else, another disease or not enough good food, and that's where the problem comes in. We're trying to take care of, this is what we can do, everybody can do, enough good food.
You know, Mark has done a great job with the parks, and, you know, I know you and I were talking about, you both was talking to the Parks Director, which is, you know, about some of these plantings in the park. And don't monarch butterflies migrate to Mexico?
Yes.
Right. Which, if you think about it, I mean, and it's interesting that you're here, because we take those sort of things in nature kind of for granted, like, hey, there's a monarch butterfly. But when you look at how fragile they are, you know, not only do they migrate from here to Mexico, and this is a pretty long trip over water, they also need, when we're in an urban area like where we are, they do need to be fed. And we're fortunate here because we have so many parks that we could probably easily do some of this. And it's interesting, I had some milkweed growing in my front yard, which isn't a lot to write home about anyway. And I dug them out, and we have like a 10 by 10 area in the back of our yard where I planted the milkweed, and they grew, and they made a milkweed patch. You know, no weeding, no care, they come up. You know, and it's that easy. The milkweed thing is a pretty easy thing to do, and it does contribute to the health and the propagation of these butterflies. So it's a great idea.
One of the things that we were looking at was, the commissioners asked one of their staff, I don't know who they should have asked, but they would put together a map with all their properties they own around the county, because they own more than I realize they own, to see if there's any place they'd like to try something like this in a corner or an oddball area or something like that, just to kind of get something moving. And so that's how they were going to approach it.
I think it's a great idea. I mean, we've all known monarch butterflies, but I honestly, till recently, have I researched their actual migration. And just at my office here in Medina, I face outside at my desk, and sure enough, when we were told the migration was beginning, you know, I would see occasionally a monarch heading south. And I know there's a different cycle where they start in Mexico, make their way up here. There's a couple cycles of generations. By the time the power ones start from Canada, make their way back south. But I think this is a great idea. I mean, we have plenty of acreage here in our community to put those together, and I'm sure there's going to be a lot of residents that will be willing to take part to help take care of those areas. We obviously have hundreds of acres of parkland, and I don't see Jansen in here, but there's plenty of spots where we don't mow that we can leave alone and you know, take part in this. And just the 3 items you have highlighted here, if we can't handle that, we have issues. And so I think it's a great idea. I mean, if somebody else wants to
Well, I think
volunteer.
the appropriate step would be to have a meeting in Jim's Public Properties to determine what kind of steps can we take with the parkland, what areas aren't actively used or can be milkweed or other kind of species put in there to help out. So I think that'll probably be the easiest way to do this, is to figure out how to handle it and what steps to take.
That's fine. I guess I just, at this point, our February meeting, I want to stick to just the one topic, because it's the pool. So it might not be till early March before we have a next public properties meeting, and I don't know time-wise if something needs to be done sooner.
The sooner the better.
Well, we'll do that, and I appreciate, you know, you guys, Linda, Kim, Jeff, coming in and giving us a presentation, and I think we'll look at it for the different things that we can do, and maybe take you up on your offer of some seed money no pun intended, to do that in the different areas of the parks that we have.
You have about a year to actually take action from the National Wildlife Federation standpoint. You can sign the pledge soon, and you can tell them what you're gonna do, and then you can sit for a while and work on your plan, and then come back a year later and fill in that little report, so.
Sounds like we need to get the ball rolling, the way you
Yeah.
make it sound like with the monarch population, and even represented from AI Root explaining the positive impacts of the bee colony from us doing this as well. It's, to me, and the foundation of our community built around AI Root, to me, sounds like a no-brainer, but I obviously respect the steps we need to take to do it, but I don't think it's going to be rocket science, and I know the conservation area on the south end of town, that the Q and Todd property, there's one that comes out right away that.
Yeah, we'll probably have to designate a person.
and-
We know who that person will be.
Well, it's up to you guys, or
It
up to
sounds
the
like,
mayor.
if you look at the data, it sounds like the chief executive has to sign the pledge. so-
Right, it's a high level.
Right, so if that's what council determines, then we'll sign the pledge. I agree with Mark. Jansen's off on maternity leave, that's why he's not here tonight. But we will work with, pardon? We will work with the Public Properties Committee. In fact, I'd like to keep it moving a little bit faster. Maybe we'll have him designate some areas ahead of time, so when we come in, rather than have that as a next step, we'll have that pre-prepared, and any of the other council members that would like to come to that meeting, offer some other suggestions maybe that we haven't thought of, we're open to it.
Or Mayor, I guess if you think we could do that, have Jansen get some input, and then it could be a fairly quick process at the February meeting here. I know you've got a big
I
agenda
don't
on
want to
it.
tie it up too much. No, I get that. Yeah, let me discuss it with him a little bit, and then we'll do a request for council action so that you can properly assign it.
Okay.
Mr. Huber.
I just wondered, what are other nectar-producing plants other than milkweed that farmers and people on land could plant?
If you make one easy switch in the fall when you're buying mums, if you bought asters instead, the bees and the butterflies can't drink from a mum, but they can drink from an aster. And they look very similar in some forms. I'm going to rattle some off. Bee balm, coneflower, lupin, cardinal flower, sage, violets. Those are all nectar plants. Kim mentioned the trees: maple, serviceberry, redbud, hackberry. The shrubs: buttonwood, sumac, elderberry. I have one.
Is it possible to get a flyer out that lists these trees
Sure.
and plants?
Or you can come to our workshop. And
That's not like that.
I brought some of those workshops flyers with me, but also I have one other hidden agenda on here that hasn't been mentioned yet, and that is that if we hurry, we can be the first county in the state of Ohio to be labeled a community backyard wildlife habitat through National Wildlife Federation. So there's my hidden agenda. I'm done. Thank you so much, gentlemen.
All right.
Well, Mayor, it sounds like Mark could be our council rep, but it sounds like somebody from the administration, Mr. Huber, would be willing to be
I can send you the
Administrator
link.
Brett.
Yeah, it looks like he's all in, yeah.
See how he does after workshop.
If you could email me maybe some of those plants.
That would make sense. Certainly.
Okay.
Then that way
We would be more than happy to, if you would like us to. We do a lot of one-on-one site visits with landowners, no matter who you are, citizens, public entities. If there is a site you guys are thinking about, you want us to look at it, make sure it looks right, we can do that.
Yeah, I mean, we also, we have the city website and maybe incorporate something or a link or something that people who are looking for things can go to, and a lot of different things we can do.
I like Mark's idea of getting the community involved, not only going out and taking care of these plots, but the plantings that we do every spring and every fall at our own houses. I know my wife would be excited, but getting the community
How does
involved.
it,
You guys can kind of set the example, if you will, and then they can kind of lead from there.
I know we have to get going on the agenda, but how do deer like milkweed?
I already
You
whispered
know,
that
it
question.
has a juice in it, that's what the milk comes from, and it has a very toxic taste to it. That's the butterfly's protection, a caterpillar's protection. As soon as a bird tastes it, it doesn't want to eat another one.
Okay.
So deer don't really like to browse on milkweed.
We can add that to another list then.
That's right.
Well, thanks for your input.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for your time.
Okay, thank
John, if
you.
it's okay, just, is there a consensus of council to go ahead and just sign the pledge, so nobody's got a problem with that?
I don't have a problem.
Okay, and then we'll work through the details.
Okay. Kimberly?
I was just gonna mention, last year we did a Champion Creek restoration project, and part of that was to restore some natural plantings, and this might qualify as one of those, so when you're talking about the various areas, you might wanna consider that one.
Okay. Remind us.
Well, she's gonna-
You already did. Okay, thanks. Okay, we have 16020 budget amendments. We have 2016-03 paper sales bicentennial comments.
I can take it. This request to appropriate the funds from the paper sales to the contractual services through JTS Landscaping to start the installation of the owner paper over the existing footer and paver mortaring and poly sanding for the joints.
Move to approve.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, motion carries. 1621 MCRC Senior Activities Coordinator part-time position. Mike?
Thank you, Mr. President. This is a request to have council approve a new part-time position addition to the rec center staffing. One of the employees is currently in one of the rec leader positions, which we will not be replacing, and the idea is to have the new position actually reflect the job duties that she performs. The current employee has been in the position for 11 years and goes way above and beyond the current job duties listed as a rec leader. This employee is in charge of all the senior programming, which she started and has continually grown throughout the years with programs like the Senior Lecture Series, which draws over 100 people usually every time there's a lecture, pickleball tournaments where people have come from all over the state to play the pickleball at our rec center, ping pong, bunco, and Wii bowling leagues, and she does a lot of other stuff. That's just to name a few. Needless to say, this position requires a special person to handle the demanding and ever-changing environment of our senior population. Our request is to add a senior activities coordinator classification under job code RC27A to our programming department, which will start at $14.71 an hour. The average pay per position with this type of job duties is currently $15.49 per hour. This request is backed by the mayor, and the classification was approved by the Civil Service Commission last Wednesday.
Questions?
Will you be then eliminating the recreation leader position
We won't.
title?
We won't. We just will not fill the one that she's leaving, because the rec leaders also help with our summer camp and a lot of other programs.
So I know that's.
Mike, you have more than one rec leader, right?
Yes, we do.
Oh, okay.
So it's just one of those not being filled. Mike, my question too was, with Silver Sneakers, that's brought a lot more seniors into the rec center, hasn't it?
It has. Just to give you an idea of the numbers, I brought some with me. We started it, actually, I brought it to the rec center a year after I started the rec center in 2008. I found this program, and we got the contracts taken care of and everything. It took almost a year. The first year, 2009, at Silver Sneakers, we had 237 members join the Silver Sneakers, and now we're at almost 1,800, 1,780 from 2009 to 2015. The revenues for Silver Sneakers went from $9,700 to $164,000 in that time period. And you know, the classes offered, Silver Sneakers classes, at first we only had 45, and now we serve almost 358 per year classes for Silver Sneakers for seniors. And those are all, through that program, those seniors get the Silver Sneakers, they get the rec center membership free, and they get 3 different programs that they can take up to 3 or 4 times a week, depending on which one it is, for free also. The healthcare company pays us to have them scan in. So every time we have a lecture series, this person who's in charge of the senior activity coordinator, what it should be, she has over 100 people stand in under that Healthways, and each one's worth $3.50 every time she does. And every program she runs, there's no doubt about it. I think she's probably been taking advantage of her last few years, because she really puts in a lot for the seniors, and they love her. So.
So the current rec leader position is part-time too?
Yes.
And what does that current rec leader position pay right now?
Well, she's at a 1078, but if you look at the chart, it's the first one of the A rec leader position, which which is where most of them are at now, because they're here seasonally, is, let's see, correctly, $998.
So you're gonna leave that one on, Phil, create a new one, which creates more job responsibility and paid at a higher rate.
Correct. She's already doing the job responsibilities. And they're comparable to the facilities we looked up, what they were paying for that position, and we're actually paying her less.
And a difference of 5,000 is what current position to the new position comes out of your carry forward?
We won't need it, it's in our budget.
Oh, it's in your budget.
And it's, that's an overestimate of 5,000. If she were to work 29 hours a week, which she does not, right now she's down to 1 or 2 days. We're hoping what she'll do is want to work more hours at the rec centers to run more programming and, do other stuff less outside of the rec.
That's great, thanks, Mike. Move to approve.
Second.
Any other discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you.
16022 fiscal year CHIP grant Wadsworth reimbursement. Who's this?
Yeah, I'll take that.
Jonathan.
Thank you, Mr. President. This is basically to set up PO for all of the potential reimbursements that the city of Wadsworth would receive in our current CHIP program, our partnership program. They've set it up where they pretty much, when they go through, they want to do all their projects and then ask for one big reimbursements at the end. So we kind of have to set up these relatively large PO to anticipate this is equal to their portion of the different parts of the program. So that's it.
Question?
Jonathan, what's the cap per city for the grants?
Let's see, I think it was 400,000. That's what we got by partnering.
And on
There's some
this,
taken off for administration, so and we're the program administrator, so we get a certain amount. I don't remember off the top of my head the administration amount.
So that's the difference between the 352 and the 400 is, it's not all administrative, but a part of it is.
Okay.
and on this particular list, I see where they have home repair, rental home repair, but then there's that line item, private rehab of $224,500. Is that anticipated projects that haven't been identified yet, or is
That's an
that?
anticipated, the number that we anticipated Wadsworth may want to do.
Okay.
And that's for private, so it's for a landlord that has a building that qualifies under the low moderate income categories. They're tenants, basically. They have a site that is, and then you can use that money to do the private.
So that can be
rehab.
one project, correct? Instead of multiples like the ones
It
above?
could be multiples,
Okay.
yeah.
Move to approve.
Second.
All in favor? Opposed? Motion carries. 16023 expenditure of $15,000 to software solutions for the finance department.
This is our vendor for our software. It did go up pretty considerably, but switching to a different software system would be substantially more expensive, and they're not out of line with what those are for maintenance anyway.
Now, we're getting a platinum support. What's the difference between the platinum and the copper or something?
We haven't paid for an upgrade in software, and the whole time I've been here, what we've done instead is when our software gets old enough where they don't want to support it anymore, they offer us a free upgrade if we agree to a platinum service for a certain number of years. So that's what we've generally done, and we avoid paying for software upgrades, which are very, very expensive because you're buying a new one. So we were locked into platinum. I don't think we're locked in right now because I think we're out of the years on that, but it's what we've had.
Well, I guess I don't know if it's, the platinum, is that the reason for the increase, or do we use all the platinum stuff? If we don't, is there a savings, or is it worth it? I don't know. Like the gold or the silver, maybe that's what we use, and we could save $10,000. Probably not, but I just asked the question.
Yeah, it's something we could look into, I guess.
I don't have a problem with this, but if we don't need to go platinum again, maybe we don't even use it. I don't even know.
What is your experience on calling for support?
They've been good on anything we've needed done. But
How often do you call? Once a year, twice a year?
Oh, that could be weekly. A lot more
Weekly?
than that, yeah.
Okay. All right.
I'm okay with approving this, but just look into the fact of if the platinum, to get the platinum, we don't use those services, maybe you go to gold and you save $5,000 or something, or go to silver, depending on what we use. And if we have to lock in to do platinum on a new service, we'll probably do it again, but I mean, I don't know. If we don't use it, why are we gonna pay for it? Maybe we use it, I don't know.
Yeah.
Move to approve.
Second.
Any other questions? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. 16024, accept easements for West Smith reconstruction. Patrick?
Thank you. This is for the project that we finished last year. There was one easement we acquired several. There's one that kind of slipped through the cracks with the sewer. We're going to go back. We did install a storm sewer there, so we do need the easement so we can maintain it going forward.
Okay, question?
Move to approve with the emergency clause?
Second, emergency clause?
All in favor of the emergency clause?
Aye.
All opposed? Abstentions?
Aye.
Motion carried. 1625, we have expenditure of $15,000 for Lake County Sewer Street Department.
Thank you, Mr. President. With the mild winter we've been experiencing, the street department's been out there jetting, sweeping, hammering, and this is an effort to continue the repair of areas where we do not have to excavate the storm sewer, where they can go ahead and grout. We don't have grouting facilities within the city, so we contract this out. One of the grouting contractors that county sewer.
Okay,
Move to approve.
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. 1626, payment over $3,000 for Walter Haverfield.
They actually had a PO last year, but we closed it at the end of the year. And then this bill, because that PO is already closed and the year has been closed, we have to do this on a new PO. And a new PO, becomes this timing issue that the PO is after the services. That's why we have to go through this.
Questions?
So we're approving $5,051.89, I assume?
Right, and you're approving the fact that it's retroactive because the money was already spent.
Hence the emergency clause.
Move to approve with the emergency clause?
My second includes emergency clause.
Discussion? All in favor with the emergency clause?
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Now we just have a discussion of the 2015 carry forward ordinance 2816. Rich, I know you were working on this with Kathy, and is there any updates and with the department heads or anything?
Yeah, what's on the council agenda tonight is pretty much the whole list. I heard back from all the departments and we allocated and distributed their carry forward based on the accounts that they think they need it the most, so it's...
And so the total carry forward requested by department equals the carry forward line item requested? Is that?
Yes, no, yeah, everyone requested whatever they had left over.
Everything balances out?
Yes.
So right now, I gotta go to the end.
With the exception of the rec center, they don't take all their carry forward.
Okay, so we have the total carry forward, I guess, in the report, which includes, I guess, streets and all that too. Is that 9,600,000?
Yes.
So those are monies that we've appropriated in previous years that have either been labeled for specific projects or have been going to be used for specific projects, but we got about 9.6 million that is available or targeted or encumbered for those uses, which is pretty high. But I'm trying to look for what the big one is, because I know there's a couple big ones in here. I can't remember what they were. Do you remember off the top of your head?
Council. Some of the big ones are advances that we repay, so that takes up.
The advances? I was trying to find Patrick's section in here. But this is usually what we have. Look at a lot of them. They're not, most of them aren't that big at all. They're kind of small. Anybody have any questions regarding the carry forward? Nobody? You want to give it all to them?
I think we have in the past reduced, significantly. I don't know if, unless they've had a huge increase in their carry forward this year, I wouldn't think of. What's your feeling on it, Mayor?
Well, they don't spend it without coming back to you for anything greater than 15,000, so it's not like it's a blank check. I guess I've not seen the entire list to see what all, but
Well, the mini-
there's enough protections in place.
Muni court clerk has 386. That was one of the big ones.
Well, that can come.
But I mean, when we went through the budget process,
Yeah, we
I mean,
cut, yeah.
brought some of this up in discussion. I think most department heads explained then
Right.
what they wanted or what their plans were, and they know where we're headed, so they've been in frugal as much as possible.
When we have the park has a lot, and of course, the pool is still holding money in that one, the pool account, $250,000.
Gonna need that.
The expenditure, one of the big ones is local license fee advances and stuff is about 900,000. So that's one of the things. Police has a carry forward. And I don't know about, do we have a, is he doing?
He usually doesn't.
Yeah, he has 260,000 carry forward this time.
Yeah, he's not gonna need that.
I just don't know if he was supposed to take it because it goes right back into his account anyways.
Well, he said he.
Rich, what do we do with that?
Well, it's all different accounts, but he has,
Well, we reduced it
Yeah, we did.
during 2015.
Yeah.
Whatever carry forward they had, I forgot how much it was in total.
Yeah, because he
Yeah,
said he
we did a
didn't want it
reduction
in the
item.
budget, and we missed it during the budget meeting. And
Mm-hmm.
I thought at this last budget, he said the same thing.
I think, 'cause I thought it goes back in his account because
It does.
he
Yeah.
just spends his own money.
Right.
So I guess, I don't know, does he want that? I mean, what would he,
Well, we've had this discussion before, outside of the general fund,
right,
the whole thing is superfluous. I mean, you can make that point with anything that's outside of the general fund, because it stays in that fund.
well, I just wondered if he was planning for something, because usually they do it because they planning to purchase something that they didn't purchase before, but they wanted to make sure that the money was there to buy it, at the time they wanted to buy it.
Yeah, he didn't mention anything this time around to me. He just said, yeah, we'll take it all.
I mean, street repair has 915,000.
Those are our capital vehicle purchases.
I know, checking with you. Street resurfacing has a lot there too.
Can I bring up a point, though, public buildings, and Rich and Keith are here, we had to cut the amount that we're carrying forward, that we had saved for the paving of lots, like that Castle property, be cut into operations because the budget was so tight, so I'm not sure what's gonna happen in that instance, because we were saving that money to pave all the various lots, the First Merrill lot, City Hall PD, the Castle Noel lot that we maintained, we delved into that quite a bit at the end of the year for the operations because it was so tight and the other expenditures have gone up. I don't know what will happen this budget season.
We have a lot in here for Patrick, like advances for Gunnison Court, 387, Lafayette, these are all done in 2013, and Ryan Road, 127. Are those completed projects? Can that be put back into the 108 account, or we just keep carrying those forward?
Completed. Yeah, we don't need any more funds for those.
Yeah, it says 387,000 is being carried forward for Gunnison Court.
Yeah, we have to submit reimbursement to the OPWC once we get reimbursed. for
Oh,
this.
we haven't got reimbursed for the
Not yet.
grant money yet? Is that-
Correct.
That's what these are, grant funds, these
Yes.
numbers? Okay, so we'll get, yeah, because we got Huntington reconstruction, stuff like that, okay, because that's a pretty good chunk of money there. Okay, so we get reimbursed and that comes off.
Right.
Do we automatically just take it out of the carry forward then, and do we have to come back and vote it to?
No, we just automatically repay the advance, yeah. There's
We need the
council-
appropriation to pay the advance.
Right.
Is what Rich's point is.
Okay.
So that the money that's appropriated will be to repay the advance once we get it.
Okay. Questions on that, anybody?
Did you say the chief said he wanted the whole 260? Or he wanted to get back the whole 260?
He said to carry it forward, whether he misunderstood what I was asking, or...
That sounds like it.
Well, I guess
We
we'll,
can always reduce it later on, I guess.
I guess we can reduce it during the budget process.
Pretty
It's
soon.
it's his money. So anyway,
But what
so-
we've been doing, what you guys did, starting like the half of the year, the way we've been reducing the carry forward in the current year, that seems to be working out a lot better, because then it reflects that it doesn't just pull it out of next year's
Right.
budget,
Right.
so it just seems to work out better that way.
Okay. Question?
That's on your budget tonight at council?
Yes, it is.
Okay, so if we're going to amend it, it'd be better to do it now, right?
Well, but we can change it, what we're saying is we could reduce appropriations. If we decide, oh, we didn't need to give this to them, we could reduce the appropriations next week.
Yeah, if we can get an answer before the council meeting, why do it twice?
So let's see what that says, and if we want to reduce it at that meeting tonight, we can take that off with an amendment to the ordinance, I guess. Okay.
Okay.
So I guess we're down to the executive session. Whew, pending litigation. Our favorite.
Who's going to join us besides the mayor, Kathy, and Greg?
Who is it?
I think that's it.
Okay. Make a motion then at 6:40 to enter into executive session for the purpose of discussing disputes involving the city which are the subject of imminent court action, to include the mayor, Mr. Huber, and Kathy.
Second.
Clerk, please call the roll.
Lamb,
Yes.
Hilbert.
Yes.
Shields.
Yes.
Coin.
Yes.
Simpson.
Yes.
Rose.
Yes.
Wilson.
Yes.
We'll be recessing into executive session to discuss the pending litigation. We'll reconvene but not take any action, I believe, correct? On the pending litigation update, and we'll adjourn from the finance and go to council after that. Okay? All right, we're recessed.